Okay, welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. I am joined by my co-host, number 88, Mr. Preston Denard. How are we, sir?
My friend, I am well, and with that, I've
The
got to
crowd
get
goes
back.
wild.
The crowd goes wild. You know, I can't survive without hearing a crowd. That's why I have my little deal here. So whenever I feel like low and missing the game or something like that, yeah, I got my own crowd.
I never took you as a diva wide receiver. But you got to have the
Well,
crowd. Okay,
no,
well,
no, that has to do with removal, old age, and reflecting back on a career. I want to hear that again.
yeah. Hey, I don't blame you. I don't. They say
Oh,
it's tough to give up. Tough to give up.
Oh man.
It,
I just
it,
had the opportunity, Stacy, to visit this morning early with one of our former guests, Mr. Paul Gregory, who
oh, very nice.
yes, and he sent me some stuff on some guys, but here's the deal. I'm ready to go after some Ram players for interviews now, and he gave me a whole list I did not have. So,
Wow.
first guy I'm going after, Robert Del Pino.
Oh, number 39 before
Going
Steven
after him.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, looking
Very
forward to
nice. Oh my gosh, what a great player, man. That's fantastic. Well, Paul Gregory, big shout out. I have to tell you, I follow his stuff on the social
Yeah.
media sites.
Hmm.
Love what he's doing. He's had a couple
Yeah.
of fantastic figurine configurations
Oh,
of the late
he's awesome.
70s defense
Hmm.
and some of the modern players too as well. Cooper Cup, I
Hmm.
think he
Hmm.
recently posted some stuff
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Paul does some cool stuff. And
Yes, he
it
does.
not seen because it's behind my head is my Preston Denard figurine. I need to move that into
Where is
camera
it? I
shot.
don't. Oh, that's
It's
okay.
it's behind my head.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's way behind your head.
Need to adjust that. Need to adjust that. Got a Christmas gift from the daughter of the Gridiron Icon sign, so I wanted to show.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, yeah. There it is.
Hand drawn and painted. So fun stuff, fun stuff. Well, very nice. Met with Paul Gregory. We'll get some other
Hmm.
Rams players back from those fantastic
Yeah.
teams back on the show. That's exciting and a surprise to
Hmm.
me. I was
Yep.
not prepped for that. Love hearing
Yeah.
it. Love hearing it. Okay. Well, let's
Okay.
jump in. Let's jump into the week that was.
Week that was. Yeah.
I somewhat told you that I wanted to bounce off this whole scandal with LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. I'm just going to say right from the outset, for anyone that catches this or watches, I'm not really a fan of either. I really am not. I don't watch either show, and I stopped watching my Lakers a long time ago after Kobe left because I'm not a big fan of LeBron's. Just going to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But he confronted Stephen A. Smith at the game here, I believe 2 nights ago or so. It's, of course, the most viral thing on the internet and sports and the NBA right now. Every single angle of LeBron hovering over Stephen A. Smith courtside and ripping into him for talking about his son, Bronny. And he wants him to get Bronny, quote, out of his mouth.
Oh,
So I got to ask you, as a former professional athlete and a man that has raised sons who've went on to be professional athletes as well, what is your take on this? Is this a smart move by LeBron? And I'm not here to push an agenda. I just would like to get another father slash athlete's perspective.
well, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I have to state, I have not seen that video. I was
Good.
not even aware of it, but I got a response to it because I am that dad who is that parent who was that coach who trained his kids and trained each and every one of them as they went along. And I had a storyline that I would tell my boys every time they went out to play football, not any other sport, but football. And I would tell my sons the first time anybody walks up to you and says, and try to compare you to me or say you need to play like me or we expect you to perform as your dad did, you let them know your name is, and it ain't me. And they
Nice.
need to accept you on your own accord and you need to be ready. And the other part of that was everybody's got an opinion about you. If it matters, you'll never have a successful sports campaign. And if you don't care about what people have to say, you'll have a very wonderful career because that is ridiculous. So I go from there to give you my response. I haven't even seen it. I don't know anything about it. But I can tell you this, I'm not interested because it's stupid. It's today's announcers and athletes. They're emotionally entwined about media, social media, because it's huge. And what people have to say, it's influential. It's one of those scenarios that when you think about it, if you're a little touchy about what people are saying, you probably shouldn't be playing the sport you're playing because we're
Okay.
all subject to be critiqued. We're all subject. It's like, I don't know how many people walk up to me and say, "Oh, you play for the Rams?" Or, "Oh, I'm a Cowboy fan." All right, well, you guys, everybody's got an opinion. And they got an opinion about how I played. They got an opinion about how you handle your podcast. Everybody's got something to say about something. And when you're Stephen A. Smith, and of course LeBron James, it's newsworthy. Who knows what that motivation was all about, really? I think it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting take. Interesting take. I also want to say a very balanced take and one that helped his sons. Let me ask you this before I launch into some thoughts. Would it be safe to say that you didn't go to your team, whether it was the Rams, Packers, or Bills, and tell them that they needed to sign Ryan and give him a contract? Did you do
No,
that?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. I mean, of course, I'm not LeBron James.
Of
I'm
course,
not
I get
I'm
it.
not wearing 23. I'm not the franchise savior of the Lakers. And I don't make that money that he makes. So he may feel with all that energy going through him and his presence that he can speak and say what he wants to say. But how are you going to tell Stephen A. Smith to shut up talking about your boy? All he did was say, Stephen A., keep talking about my boy even louder now. That's all that
Yeah.
is. So now you got against and who's going to win? Stephen A. is always going to have the last word. And here's the bottom line. If your boy was not groomed to deal with this, LeBron, you didn't do what you needed to do.
Okay. All right. Very, very interesting take. I agree on every front. I think that this is a bad look. I just think it's a bad look. Look, I don't want to spend 30 minutes talking about this silly situation between two grown men in the media and LeBron and what I think of LeBron. I just want to stay away. But listen, Bronny James wouldn't be in the NBA without his dad.
Exactly.
He is currently in the G League.
Yep.
And he seems to be doing pretty well in the G League. He is not ready for the NBA, as most people will tell you. So you've got a media personality who I don't care for in Stephen A. Smith
Yeah.
doing his job, simply calling out that LeBron very nepotically pushed his son on the league on his own team. And now people are going, well, he isn't that good, LeBron, and he's only there because of you, and he doesn't play well, and LeBron's losing his marbles. Really strange stuff from grown men.
Well,
Like,
you can compare it.
yeah, right,
You can compare
right.
it. Dion.
Oh, yeah, you know I'm not a big fan of that either.
Well, I mean, different makeup, but the same scenario.
Same scenario, same formula, same thing. Let me ask you this. Are these guys doing their sons any favors? I mean,
Growing up wise, no.
yeah,
Facing challenges on their own, no. Trying to figure out how to survive and to succeed in their own presence, no. There's so much that he's not doing for, or they're not doing for their sons, which, and I'm not God's gift to raising sons. I mean, I've got
no,
five boys, and
yeah,
I've got one that played, or two that played some pro ball. I got two that played college. I got all of them played high school ball, and they played multiple sports. And I was their coach, so I was on their behind harder than anybody else. But one thing I did not do, I didn't bail my sons out. I didn't baby him. It's like my fourth son. When he started playing youth football in the eighth grade, PJ, oh, it's PJ, and
hi,
PJ's
PJ.
he's on the kickoff team, and he's running down the field. He's like L3 or 4, and he's running down the field, and he gets cold cocked from the side.
Ooh,
Comes to the
been there.
sideline, his head's in my chest, he's in tears. I said, son, here's what I told him. I said, son, there's a word that I didn't teach you. It's called keep your head on a swivel, which means look out for the guy that's coming for you. That's why we watch film. I said, when we watch film, you're going to see where that guy came from. From now on, you'll never be hurt again. That's what we offer our kids, a learning experience opportunity. Not
Nice.
that, oh, rep, that guy hit my son. We need to take care of my son, or you can't talk about my son, or you can't draft my kid, or he has to play here. Where are we in allowing our kids to face adversity or challenges and figure out how to overcome them on their own accord?
Yeah, it's just a fantastic way of saying I think they're doing these guys a disservice. I really do. Poor Bronny. I mean, I don't know the kid, obviously, but I mean, imagine your whole career at such an impressionable time in your life when you're trying to make a name for yourself is tied to your dad getting everything done for you. It's just such a bad look for
It
LeBron,
is.
and
It
I
is.
just can't believe at his age and his experience. It unfortunately it lends itself to the I'm not a big LeBron fan column. It's like really ridiculous that he did that. Just ignore Stephen A. Smith's a media head.
Yeah.
He's just going to squawk and scream into the void. That's what he does. I don't watch him. I don't watch ESPN. I don't watch any of that stuff because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But they're in front of the world, and it's just bonkers now. And you're brawny. Like, you got to go into a locker room. You've got to be a
Yeah.
leader of men on the Laker G team. You've got to, and here's dad, like, fighting your battles for. It's just, I don't know, man. And you bring up an incredible comparison to Deion Sanders because I really believe we're about to see this right before our eyes at the NFL draft.
Oh, I know we are. I know we are.
Yeah.
I have that feeling.
I mean, Deion's already said there's teams he won't go to, so he's going to dig his heels in. And I got to believe, based on what we saw this week, they've restructured Deshaun Watson's contract in Cleveland to free up $36 million in cap. They're going to draft a quarterback, and it could be Shedeur Sanders, the Browns.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, what's Dion going to do? Is he going to pull the LeBron Stephen A. Smith thing and storm up on stage? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, here's the deal. There's so much happening in the NFL as far as movement and quarterbacks. And then you got the draft that you're trying to figure out. I don't even know if by my accord, I'm looking at my notes. I don't know who do you think the first draft pick's going to be? I got my note here, and I think a lot of people are starting to believe this. But who would be your first quarterback to go then, Stace?
I think what's going to happen, and we actually agree on the dark horse guy. I know where you're getting at. I think what's going to happen is the Titans are going to trade out of that number one spot, would be my guess, and it'll be Cam Ward. I think that'll be the guy. Do I agree with that? Absolutely not. I don't. I wouldn't touch any of these quarterbacks except for the guy I'm about to say later, and that's Jackson Dart. And I think the world is going to be absolutely shocked at the draft when Dart goes in the top 5. Because I think if some quarterback hungry team is going to move him right to the top of their draft board and go, whatever. If we want him, we got to take him right there. And that's what I think is going to happen. I don't like this quarterback class at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only, in my eyes, you're right. There's only one or two that really survive, and Jackson's the one. He looks like the pro, but you know what I equated in that formula of consideration of who would be the better pick? You look at who was Jackson's head coach, who is Shadeur's head coach, who is the quarterback developer, who is the quarterback developer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you got polish versus potentially great talent, but raw. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so those things, I mean, do you have time for him to come in and somebody groom him? That means he's dropping way in the draft. And we're talking about Shedeur. But when you talk about Jackson Dart and you talk about Will Howard, Will Howard's not, I mean, they're not all performing greatly right now.
Ooh, Howard.
And you haven't heard anything about Jackson through any of this. Tells me he's going under the radar right now and may end up being that guy. But I don't know. Cam Ward seems to be a hot topic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
I'm not either. I wouldn't take him. I'm just being honest. But I think the shock of the draft will be at number 3. I think the Giants will take Jackson Dart. I really think the Giants, and that's why we're not hearing about it, because nobody wants to talk about it. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to slide, and he better hope he goes to a team that's going to put a running game around him and a defense, because they're going to have to deal with his father,
Yeah.
whoever it is.
I'm just looking at my list, and I probably got one quarterback in here. There might be two, but I got Jackson, and I know a lot of people don't have him in the top 15. There's a lot of people that don't.
Oh,
They
not at
just
all.
don't know.
Yeah.
But the
not at
draft's
all.
going to be really tricky. Now, here's what I think is contributing to a lot of the, maybe not confusion, but all the scattering as far as decision making. You think about Geno Smith goes to the Raiders. Who would have thought
Weird.
that?
Not me.
Last minute deal. So now that kind of shuffles the barrel a little bit. Where are some of these people going to go? You got Shedeur, who doesn't participate in the combine. Why? I don't know what he's resting on. I guess he thinks his performance is done enough. Then you got Will Howard.
Ooh.
That is such a huge question mark from Ohio State. You got somebody who can win, who quietly won, who wasn't over dominating at the quarterback position. And then the other factor in this, I'm going to tell you right now, I hope he goes away. Should have went away last year, should have went away the year before. Aaron Rodgers. I can't imagine somebody really thinking they can bring him in.
Yeah.
And at least, I mean, if you think about the draft picks, there's a whole bunch of guys in that draft, athletically, talent-wise, that can compete with the same Aaron Rodgers. Mentality-wise, no. Knowledge and wisdom and experience, no. But ability, talent, and the skill set, they can come in right now, and you can groom them, get them ready for the season. Aaron Rodgers, not mobile. Well, we don't want to go through that. We already know where he's at.
Yeah.
I just think out of respect to him, out of respect to the game, and for those who are trying to consider, because I think this draft is the most challenging draft of ever.
Yeah, it's not a good one. Not at the skill position. Although the wide receivers and tight ends are fairly deep, I guess.
Yep.
But you're right. The quarterback position. I mean, everybody's taking. You brought up Quinn Ewers last week, and that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
But I agree. The Geno Smith thing blew my mind because Tom Brady's in that Raiders front office now, and I thought, really, Tom Brady's. Now I get it. He wants to go. Him and Pete Carroll have the Seahawks connection. Okay. Would it be crazy if the Raiders still drafted a young quarterback with their pick in the top 20? I don't know.
Why not?
I mean, just sit him behind. Yeah, just sit him behind Geno Smith. I just don't see that guy other than a Jackson Dart. Or you brought up Quinn Ewers, way too high for him. Listen, Will Howard had quite possibly the worst NFL combine in NFL history.
Yeah.
He looked awful.
Yeah.
And I watched it. Now, granted, not his receivers. You can speak to that.
Yeah.
But he did not look. I don't think Will Howard's going before the 5th or 6th round. I just don't see it. Or he might be undrafted. I don't know. But this is going to be a really interesting draft, man. But I think Jackson Dart is this year's Michael Penix, and he's going to sneak into the top 10, and everyone's going to go, whoa. And I personally think it's the New York Giants. I think Brian Daboll, he needs to save his job, as does the general manager after they gave Saquon Barkley away.
Yeah.
They've got to do something.
That's right.
But, man, I think Cam Ward will end up probably going first. And I don't love the pick. I don't. I think there's players just like him on teams that are backups right now.
Yeah.
Malik Willis, very similar, athletic with a big arm, I don't know. Interesting stuff to watch. But
Yes, it is.
But the Neon Dion thing, if you're a GM, is Shedeur Sanders such a can't miss prospect at the most important position in football that you want to put up with Neon Dion too? If you're a general manager, are you going there?
Oh, no. No, I'm not. Matter of fact, but here's my deal. If my team was one of the teams that was earmarked for no participation by his son, I wouldn't even have that conversation. Because first of all, there's too many players in this now with Dion figuring in it. And how does he know what the strategy of this team's draft and the building from this point on, how did he know what's the cards are going to lay out for him? Because somebody may be looking at, I'm in a youth movement now. I've got to get some young people in here, receivers, linemen, running back, quarterbacks. I'm going to groom them. I've got an old school group. I've probably got a year or two left. That's why I really think they got Geno. They didn't get Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to draft the quarterback because they get to groom him. If you compare Geno and Aaron Rodgers, you got a better product in Geno Smith. Because no one ever, first of all, when he started for Seattle, nobody knew he was coming in to do what he was going to do. And he's been consistent. He's a pro. He executes well. And so somebody's going to survive with him. With the Raiders, big gun. And with the tools he's got, big gun. I think the Raiders just screwed up everything in their draft picks and trade. I mean, you think about it. The last 3 years, all the players they let go. And then you bring in Devontae, and then he's gone. Yeah. I mean, it's just horrible. So they could draft a Shedeur, put him on the bench, groom him. I can see that happening. And it depends on the pick. And if they have the luxury of going after Shedeur Sanders in the first round, they must be okay elsewhere. Or they must have a trade they're working on. Otherwise, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Interesting take. I could see that as well. I'll tell you one thing. If Shedeur Sanders is sitting on the board when the Dallas Cowboys come up, mm-hmm. I think the Dak Prescott thing, despite the monstrous contract, has all but sailed in Dallas, and it would not shock me if Jerry Jones goes, let's grab Dion's kid. It would not shock me. That's Jerry Jones trying to sell tickets. I just don't get it.
No, that is true.
But listen, give me your thoughts on this. Rumors this morning are now that Sam Darnold is probably going to land in Seattle to take over what Geno Smith is leaving in Seattle, which means that one of the names linked to the Minnesota Vikings is Aaron Rodgers.
You can't tell me I'm really living this life.
Yeah, it could happen.
That is just weird. You know what? I keep telling my son, he's a Aaron Rodgers fan. He's a Packers fan, but he's an Aaron Rodgers fan. And I told him, I said, I upset him all the time. I said, dude, he should have quit 3 years ago. He should have quit 3 years ago. He had a quality career. What is he? He ain't going to win a Super Bowl. He's not able to move. He's not don't get me started. A better conversation is talking about Cooper Kupp. I'm pissed at that.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. We'll move on from the Aaron Rodgers thing because I am a fan and I know you're not. I do think if Aaron Rodgers landed on a team that was one piece away, I do think that's compelling. I have to say that I think he threw 28 touchdowns, 11 picks last year on a terrible football team. He didn't look great at times. Nonetheless, we'll move on.
Okay.
The Cooper Kupp thing continues. We re-signed Matthew Stafford. Kupp is now being linked to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is very interesting. They just took the brand new GM came from Les Snead's staff in L.A. Liam Cohen, the new head coach, came from Sean McVay's staff in L.A. They're coming for Cooper, it sounds. That's what's floating around out there.
I think it's a good deal.
And I'll
tell you this. Cooper is experiencing what we all experience. I experienced it. And here's the deal. The teams get in their head what they think is a final analysis of their strategy and how to use a player. There's a lot of things they did not consider. There's a lot of things they don't even think about. For example, Cooper, in my opinion, is the best third down, fourth down guy there is. That's a saw you hear in the background. I got work going on in my house. I don't want you to get nervous.
Oh, yeah. I was like, are we being invaded by aliens? What's going on?
I know you heard the saw. I'm like, I better let it go. But my point about this with Cooper Kupp, He's experiencing everything that we all have experienced. And the Rams didn't come to him and say, hey, we still think you're capable. You probably can't line up outside, but we think you're a move receiver. You're going to be that short receiver, that third down receiver. Not asking you to outrun everybody downfield anymore. We're not going to put you out wide. We're going to have you be a move guy, a zone guy, a man read guy. You're going to be the blitz guy. You're going to be the one that's key to keeping the drive along, going, because he didn't lose any skill set other than maybe the injury slowed him down a little bit. He's still competitive. He still can work himself to get open, but you got to be smart in how you use him. It's the same thought process when John Robinson traded me, and before that happened, or as they were doing it, I asked him the question. I said, "Do you ever think about me coming off the bench, being your third down nickel guy?" He didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
The only thing in his head, he wanted speed.
Yep.
The
Rams are doing it again. They're doing it again.
They're doing it again.
Yeah, they really are. That's what they want.
You tell me, if speed ever got them, the only speed that they ever had that got them a Super Bowl, and it wasn't all-out speed, was when they won it in '99, I guess. And
Torrey and Ike Bruce.
Yeah,
but they had Ricky Prohl. They had Ricky Prohl.
They had Ricky Prohl. Azir, is that how you say his name?
Azir Hakim.
Yeah, Hakim. Yeah. They had those kind of skills.
He was a speedster. Yeah.
But the Rams did. And then what's happening? You got Puka and you got Cooper. Then you got your other little speed guys. Well, I think Cooper is the mix, but now he's gone.
Yeah.
He's moved on. He's experienced what we've all experienced. He still has talent and abilities. Probably going to have his best year in Jacksonville if that's where he ends up.
I completely agree, because Liam Cohen will know how to use him because he's already worked with them. Here's the part that blows me away about the Cooper Cup thing. It's got to be about money, at least I think so, or
it's
somebody. Yeah.
Always.
It's about his contract or that need for speed thing, because they just gave Tutu Atwell another $10 million.
Yeah.
And they let Cooper Kupp go. You mean to tell me that Sean McVay can't find a way? Cooper Kupp's almost like a tight end. He's probably about as fast as a tight end now after the injuries. He can't find a way, the old West Coast, San Francisco, H-back, Pete Holohan, those guys, you can't find a way to move him around and get him open.
That's my point.
Something's off with this thing. I hate it. I thought Kupp would leave in horns and then move right into the Sean McVay coaching staff. I am absolutely blown away they're letting this happen.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it.
That's the nature of this game.
Yeah,
We all go through it. Doesn't make sense, but hey, those who have the purse strings, they know exactly how to do what they do.
Right. It's like any other job in the world. Somebody else is making the call. Yeah, it's wild. But the Cooper Kupp thing, to your point, I literally can't believe it has to be about the money, because there's no way Sean McVay isn't creative enough to line him up at fullback. And let's look, is he going to be a blocker? No, but move him around. You do what Bill Walsh did. Do some stuff. It's really wild to me that they're letting him go. It's a bummer. There's an article in the LA Times this morning with Cooper Kupp saying it's really hard on him.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It's a really hard thing.
I would love to talk to him. Because honestly, he's now in the mode where he should be. There's life after the Rams.
Yeah.
And it could be a wonderful, wonderful experience. It was wonderful while he was there. It was a great experience. He helped us get to a Super Bowl. He was the mainstay at the receiving court.
He was the man.
The veteran.
Yeah.
He was the guy, right? And so this is how you thank him. That's how they do every year. They're going to do the same thing to Puka. They're going to do the same thing to any and everybody that comes through there. That's why Eric Dixon was pissed off one year. I mean, it's all this different stuff. All the guys go through it, and if they don't realize, okay, don't like it, but you're still in the game.
Yeah.
You still can take your talents and skills elsewhere. Nobody promised we were going to be in one spot our entire life. And so guys got to get smart about this too, and to realize, it ain't about marrying someone. Okay, it ain't that kind of relationship.
No.
This is a contractual relationship. Somebody's making an opinion about you each and every year, because those contracts, unless they say guaranteed, those contracts are subject each and every year.
Yep.
And then you can be traded if somebody's interested in you. Well, Coop, he's going to play another 2-3 years for sure. At least.
And be really good.
And be
and
good.
be really good. He'll be good in the right offense. Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year.
Right.
Baker Mayfield looked real good. And so did Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And so Cooper's going to be okay if he lands in Jacksonville, but it sure
He will.
stinks. It
I'd love to talk
stinks.
to him. Love to
Yeah.
talk to him.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
try to connect you guys.
Please.
Like I have a way.
I will be able to share some words with him. And
Yeah.
he'll be fine.
Love it. Love it, man. Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week. A fantastic off-the-cuff thing. It sounds like Preston's house is coming apart back there, so we're gonna cut him loose. But we hope that you'll join us again next week here on Gridiron Icon. Any parting shots, 88?
Not at all. Let's enjoy some NCAA basketball. It's
Oh.
Final Four coming, baby. And
All right.
That's my story. I'm an original old Georgetown guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they were
but
great teams.
That was when they had all those great teams.
Yeah.
I still got a sweatshirt, but I just love watching the game. And
Yep.
it's really interesting now because the SEC, the ACC, all these, and in the Big 12, everybody is just rocking and rolling. And I love the Big East ball play.
Oh, yeah. That's what basketball should be.
That's what
A
it
lot better than the NBA. There, I said it. You don't have to. Thanks for joining us, folks. Enjoy March Madness. We will see you again soon.